Hey guys, Marijka here, Mountain Public Library, back with you today for week 2 of the classics and award winners. So I'm super excited again today because I have amazing books. First, we're going to start with the whole series, but I'll be focusing on just 2 books for a reason of there are 2 different ways to read this series. So you can read them in the way that they were published, or you could read them in the way that they are meant to be read. So either way is absolutely amazing. One way kind of gives you the like answer at the head of time, and the other way it leaves it at the end. So that is why I have 2 books for you today. The way that this is said, it says that the first part of the series is The Magician's Nephew, whereas I recommend that you read this book as the 6th one, and that you start with The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe as the first book. And with this, it recommends that you read this book second. So, again, either way is absolutely amazing, but I recommend reading The Magician's Nephew later on in the series, and it just makes it so amazing, according to me. So, this books are about 4 siblings who find their way to this magical world called Narnia. And the entrance to Narnia that they find is through this wardrobe. And at first, not everyone believes that this wardrobe could lead you to this place, but eventually all 4 siblings find their way to Narnia. And once they are there, they realize that Narnia is not like our normal world, and neither is time, which is very, very important to these books, is that time is not the same in Narnia. So I really just don't want to give too much away, because these books are just so magical and so amazing. Even if you have seen the movies, lots of people probably have, it's just, the books are just so much better. So if you haven't read them yet, just do it. It's full of adventure and mystery and talking animals and an evil presence, and you'll just want to read the whole series and you will not be sorry. So this is the Chronicles of Narnia by C.S. Lewis. The next book that I have for you is Anne of Green Gables, and this is by L.M. Montgomery. Anne is a feisty redhead with a mouth as bold as her hair. I just absolutely love her. She's a strong young woman who is set in herself at a time when women, let alone young girls, were really thought better to be quiet and demure. So Anne's just none of those things. She's imaginative and funny, and she's even those things in her mistakes. She loves to learn, and she learns from her mistakes, and she takes them in, absorbs them, and figures out just how to be a better Anne. It's just amazing. Anne allows us the time and the energy to learn and to be raw, which is something that I feel like we don't get a lot of in books nowadays, that it's okay to be flawed in a way that isn't intentional. It's just really amazing. So another amazing thing about Anne is that she's set on finding true love, but not like someone that is going to like come in and sweep her off her feet and be carried into the sunset, but more a true love that's home, that, in other words, like a best friend. So she's not looking for some boy to come rescue her. She's looking for a kindred spirit, a girl or a boy, whoever it might be, but in this case a girl, to be her very best friend for life. So Anne knows that friends are the true key to happiness, And this is just one of the best classics about an orphan girl trying to find herself and where she belongs in a world that is trying so very hard to change her. And you will not be sorry in reading this book, which also happens to be a series. Every single one of these books today is book one of a series. So this is Anne of Green Gables, and it's by L.M. Montgomery. Next book that I have for you is probably my favorite book ever. It's just so magical. I've actually mayhaps even brought it up once before. This may not be the first time you're seeing it, but I cannot do a classics without doing The Wizard of Oz by L. Frank Baum. So everyone knows or thinks that they know about Dorothy and her dog Toto and the lion and the Tin Man and the Scarecrow. But unless you've actually read this book, you do not know anything. You have no idea who these characters are, and you should be disappointed because it's amazing. So Dorothy and Toto are picked up in this tornado and dropped off in this weird place, unfortunately on top of the Wicked Witch of the East. But mayhaps not unfortunate for the Munchkins, who are kind of excited. So Dorothy honestly is very upset that she has done this. She doesn't want to be here. She just wants to go home. She didn't mean to do it. She doesn't know how she got here. And again, she just wants to go home. In order to get home, she has to get to the great and powerful Wizard of Oz. And before she can even do that, she has to follow the yellow brick road and all of the places and the people and the amazing characters that she will meet, which is where she meets the lion, the Tin Man, and my absolute favorite character of all time, the Scarecrow, who is just the best character. I just can't. So together they all set forth on this adventure, following the yellow brick road through all of these different really just neat places. All of the characters in this book are just so well done. Not even the main characters, the lower type characters, and the scenery that they go through is just, you feel like you're there. It's just one of those books that you literally could have someone read to you or listen to and can imagine it in your head happening, because it's just so well done. And these characters and these places are just so masterfully described. So they set off on this adventure to, they all have their different reasons, but then in the end they find that it's really more than all of those things that they thought that they were after. They actually start to find their true selves and a kindredness in each other. And it's just really one of the best stories about perseverance and strength and how much other people can mean to your own personal growth. So, yeah, again, just one of the very best books ever. It is part of a series. I will be completely honest. I haven't ever gone beyond this book because I just love it so much. That this is just enough for me. I don't know why normally that makes you want more of the story, but I just love this story so much and everything that it says and does that I just want to keep it right here. So this is The Wizard of Oz, and this is by L. Frank Baum. That I have for you is Mary Poppins, and this is by P.L. Travers, and I think there's a theme today of these like monogrammed names. That must be a classic thing. So Mary Poppins is just but a simple nanny who mayhaps is a bit magic. Must be, right? So Mary arrives at the Bank house, whose children are very, very naughty and have just run their last nanny off. Or rather, she floats to their house because, again, she has to be magic. So, Mary Poppins is most certainly not a normal nanny. She slides up banisters, she uses a compass to travel the world, she gets food for the children from stores that aren't there, she can talk to animals, obviously just things that normal people cannot do. So she also... Poppins is like, she has more sass than the kids like could ever dream of. She dishes it out twice as hard as they can, and that's just what these kids seem to need. So she just so happens to be the most perfect thing that could happen to the Banks home, leading the children on adventures and teaching them how to be. And just when they think that they couldn't possibly live without her, pop, she's gone. So, like most classics, of course, there is a movie, but also, like most, I think every single one of these, except for maybe the next one, is a TV show or a movie. The Mary Poppins, the movie version of Mary Poppins, is very much not the same as the book version of Mary Poppins. And the book version of Mary Poppins is so much better and funnier and real. So she just seems more of a real person in the book than in the movies. So this is Mary Poppins, and it is by P.L. Travers. The last book that I have for you today is possibly another book that I have already brought to your attention, but deserves it again and fits in perfectly here with these classics, and I just couldn't not put it in. It is Half Magic, and this is by Edward Eager. So, the whole series of this is just absolutely magic, not half but full. So, on a library trip, Jane, the eldest of the siblings, happens to find this kind of odd-looking nickel. So she picks it up, she puts it in her pocket, they go about their day. Then they are very, very bored and happen to say something, and then they hear the sirens, and all of a sudden there is a fire. But not a big fire, just a little fire, someone's playhouse, and they find it very, very odd that it seems to be somehow related to what they had just been talking about. But, you know, coincidences are coincidences, and so they go about. But after a couple of things happen that are a little odd, they start to wonder if maybe they're magic, but then their magic must be like tainted because it's only coming half true. So once they figure out that it's this nickel, or this funny little nickel that Jane had found, and after some back and forth about how it might work and some funny little accidents, they realize that it is magic, but you have to word every request just so precisely. So this leads them on quite a few adventures, and also plays into history a little bit. There is a kind of talking cat, which makes it absolutely perfect. So it's just an all-around really great story that'll keep you reading all the way to the end and make you 100% want to read the rest of the books. So this is Half Magic, and it is by Edward Eager. So those were my books for today. I hope that you enjoy them and want to read more of them, as they are all series. And I will be back with you next week for another Classics and Award winner. Bye!